Two. Hi, everybody. I'm Richard Sher, and it's time to square off. Let's meet our panel. We have an exciting show coming up for you. WBAL Radio's Bryan Nehman. He's on mornings, 5:30 to 10, along with C4. Our next panelist is a financial whiz, an author, an entrepreneur, and an excellent gourmet cook when it comes to pasta sauce. Tyrone Keys, and two of our square-off's outstanding attorneys, Mary Cook and Tom Minkin. Well, it might be Valentine's week, but there is certainly no love lost from the thousands of federal workers who are getting "you're fired" emails. First to go, probationary employees who are recent hires who've joined the federal workforce within the last 1 to 2 years. And the cutting goes on. Bryan, what do you think about all of this that's happened in the past 3 weeks?
Well, Donald Trump has kept his word, and that is he's going to try to really alter the federal government, the bureaucracy, as much as he possibly can. And he's doing unique things, clever things in some ways, legally, trying to go around the Washington way. And he has made a great impact on trying to find fraud, waste, and abuse. And he's broken a lot of eggs in the process. The way he did it may be a little bit too far for a lot of people, but I think for the most part, he has kept his word, and that's what MAGA wanted. And that's what MAGA got, too, by the way.
Speaking of M's, Mary, what do you think?
I think that it is a disaster. I think that what they're trying to do is pay for cuts for the very wealthy by cutting out the workforce, which literally is a fraction of the amount of money that we won't collect when he cuts taxes. I think that there's no fairness to the process. I think that there's no understanding of what exactly these agencies do and who needs their services. And I just think that, and he hasn't done what he said he was going to do. He hasn't brought down any prices. The prices are going up. Inflation is going up. And there are going to be a lot of people looking for jobs. So I would imagine the jobless rate is going to go up as well.
Right, Tyrone.
Well, it's important to remember that we as a nation have $37 trillion in debt. 37 trillion. Now, a trillion seconds ago was 30,000 years ago. So you understand the magnitude. We're spending more on the interest for our debt than we are on the U.S. military. And I think that any reasonable person would understand that we got a problem. As far as, Trump keeping his commitments, well, there's one thing that you can't say that he's not doing. He's doing exactly what he promised on the campaign trail, as Bryan said.
Tom Minkin, let's hear from you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I think you have to take a step back and begin at the beginning. The American presidents in the past have been strange individuals sometimes, but they've all been up on what they need to be up on, in that they know what they're doing when they come in here. What you have, I think, with Trump at this point is just a guy who doesn't read, doesn't understand, and is now trying to cure his problems by bringing in an unelected co-president. And that's where the problems really start. And as Mary was indicating, I mean, I would second that, because the fact is that the country at this point is in turmoil.
Well, that's true.
Is it in turmoil? I mean, I don't. Why would it be in turmoil? I mean, he's done nothing illegal. What's he done that's been illegal, Mary? What is it?
Okay, ending birthright citizenship.
Well, that's not what whoa. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the federal government. We're talking about the bureaucracy of the federal government and DOJ going in and looking and doing a forensic audit of the system. What has he done that is illegal?
Well, first of all, none of those people, I think that those people, and I don't pretend to be an expert on all of the federal regulations, but I do think that you have to have some level of a security clearance in order to access those things, and they have no security.
Listen, he's the president of the United States. He can do what he wants to.
No, he can't.
Yes, he can. He is the executive branch. If he
That's
wants
right.
to go into the agency, the Labor Department, the Department of Transportation, and say, show me the books, guess what? He gets to see all the books.
He
And
does
so
get to see them. That's
Who
right.
knows? Yes.
He gets to see them.
And
And the people
he
that,
asked Elon Musk to do that.
but
So
he
there's
can't.
nothing
All right,
illegal about
guys.
what he's doing.
Yes,
That's
there
the
is. And the other
problem.
thing I was going to say is he has completely overstepped his boundaries as the executive because he is now telling, wait a minute, he is telling people not to pay funds that have already been approved by Congress. So that is overstepping his bounds and unconstitutional. He cannot say not to disperse funds, which the Congress has already said under their own power as one branch of government that should be dispersed, have passed
That's
laws.
not actually that's being adjudicated. That has not been decided. Furthermore, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution clearly lays out the broad executive powers held by any president. As far as Elon Musk is concerned, you guys do remember that he had type of security clearances that allowed him to launch top secret satellites for the US government for years now. I don't think he's interested in my neighbor's 720 credit score. These are the hard things that need to be done to bring us back to some sort of fiscal responsibility in
Let
this
me ask you a
country.
question. Do you honestly believe, given we're 3 weeks into his presidency, but these decisions were made days into his presidency, do you honestly believe that there was any true assessment made of any of the budgetary issues, financial issues, waste in or fraud in any of those agencies in which he's cut to people's jobs or cut off funding? Do
Well,
you believe there's
let me
actually
answer your
been an
question.
investigation?
Let me answer your question. I've actually been in DC as a lobbyist, as I think all of you on this panel know. They've been talking about waste, fraud, and abuse for decades. Okay. And as far as him coming in, and I want to respect your question. Let me know if I'm getting it, if I'm meandering. But as far as him coming in and actually finally wanting to do something about that, I welcome that because at the end of the day, Mary, we're talking about our money,
Okay,
taxpayer money.
Mary, hold
Can I
on.
just
Mary,
say one thing?
Mary, all right. We want to share the screen, so let Tom get in here.
Well, except Tyrone, that the problem, as I see it, is that he has the powers to do basically what you're indicating. But the fact that he has the powers does not mean that he can delegate them to somebody who is an entrepreneur. Oh, and by the way, the recipient of billions of American dollars for his various and sundry programs, without being checked. I mean, where does the Constitution say that the president can lay off all his responsibilities on unelected individuals?
I would like to, if I may say something, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Trump and Musk have largely been undeterred by backlash and the lawsuits. Trump telling Fox News' Brett Baer that he is, quote, getting great help from Elon Musk, who's been terrific. That's a quote. Democrats charge that Musk is trying to overthrow the government and that he has huge conflicts of interest because Musk is a government contractor. Go ahead, Mary. Keep your
So
comments.
I just want to respond to, I understand what you're saying. I don't even want to talk about the Elon Musk issue right now. I want to respond to something that Tyrone said.
Go ahead.
I agree that there is waste in the government. I agree that there are things that should be trimmed, and I agree that somebody should be looking at all of that. I 100% agree with all of that. Here's what I don't agree with. I don't agree with somebody coming in wholesale and cutting off funding and wanting to abolish the Department of Education. I don't agree with people coming in wholesale and wanting to get rid of Medicaid. And here's why I don't. Because there are people, the people who are the recipients, for example, let's talk about the Department of Education. All of the students who have IEPs, who have disabilities, all their services come through the Department of Education. There's been no consideration to
Yes,
that
it has.
population.
Yes, it has.
Wait a
McMahon
minute.
actually, Mary, you're throwing a lot at me.
Yeah.
Let me just address
I'm
one
not
thing at a
throwing
time.
it.
No, you are.
You guys
As
gotta keep
McMahon
your comments
addressed,
brief. Bruce.
McMahon addressed the disabilities aspect of closing down the Department of Education by transferring that to Health and Human Services. She talked about that extensively in her Senate confirmation hearings. So there is consideration for exactly what you're talking about. As
But
far as
health
I
and
wanted to go back real quick, as
Well, why?
far
Well,
as
let me
the
ask you a question. Why do you not want children educated? Why do you not want a
let
Department of
me answer the
Education?
question.
on.
Okay, okay,
All right,
Mary.
guys, I wanna-
Hold on, let me
But
answer
let
that.
me. People haven't let me finish, so I haven't got
Mary,
my
you
complete thought
can't
out.
throw three questions at me. Let
I
me
wasn't
answer
throwing any
just
questions
one.
at you. I was
Mary,
making statements.
You're right. You're making
Mary,
statements that I don't want
stop.
children educated. Okay,
I didn't
how were
say that.
children,
I.
Mary?
I'm
How
not
were
talking about
children,
you. Please, I'm
Mary?
not talking about
Mary,
you.
respectfully, how were children educated prior to 1979?
All right,
They
guys,
were in
listen
public
to me.
schools.
I
Well,
don't care for what's happening. Bryan Nehman,
listen.
give some sanity to this.
Well, listen, 90% of the budget for public schools come from the states and the local municipalities. I mean, it's not like it is that big of a number. And they haven't said that they were going to cut off the funds of the schools. They just want to dismantle the bureaucracy of the Department of Education that was started, as Tyrone said, just a few years ago in 1979. And they've moved money over. So the fact that we're trying to end education, which, by the way, has been failing in this country for quite some time and needs an entire forensic audit on its own. So these are the things that get out of control, that we're cutting or getting rid of all this and this stuff. He is looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, and ending bureaucracy that has actually hurt a lot of agencies over the years.
All right, in that moment, we're going to stop for just a second. Guys, there are four of you, four panelists. Let's share the screen and the time, and let's pause for a moment for the voice of Square Off, our dear sponsors. Here's Howard Mallison, and we'll get back to you guys.
Hey, Richard. You know, Dr. Kelly Gagan, our newest sponsor here at Square Off, is a well-respected board-certified podiatrist and heel specialist. Foot problems can happen at any age, and Dr. Gagan knows that the appearance of your feet matter just as much as correcting any problems you may be experiencing. And if unsightly toenails embarrass you to wear sandals or open-toed shoes, you may be a candidate for laser treatments that can solve this issue. They are safe, painless, and go right to the cause. And believe me, over-the-counter treatments don't work. So give Dr. Gagan a call at 410-753-4422 to set up an appointment. And you know, bad drivers are everywhere. That's why
Oh, yeah.
auto accidents are on the rise. If you've experienced an accident, the insurance companies cannot tell you where to take your car. And this is the reason that more and more drivers are trusting Leading Edge auto body and mechanical repair. Leading Edge works on all makes and models and offers free pickup and delivery anywhere in the Baltimore area. 433-6433 or visit them at 5807 Falls Road in Mount Washington. It's 5807 Falls Road, Mount Washington. Leading Edge makes your car look and run like new again. Back to you, Rich.
All right, Howard, thank you. Kelly Gagan is a great podiatrist, took care of my ugly feet. I have to admit, I have ugly feet. But let's not use that as a topic here on Square Off. We've also learned that more than 73,000 federal employees have taken the buyout, which offers full pay and benefits until September. Who wants to jump in here? Mary?
That's interesting because the government's not even funded until September. No one has set aside money for that to happen. And why would you, if you're trying to cut out waste, why would you pay people to do no work for 9 months?
Because Mary, that's something that happens in corporate America
This is in
every
corporate
day.
America.
Mary, let me finish. That's something
But
that happens in
this
corporate
is
America
not.
every day of the week. Buyouts occur in order to save money down the road. You take the charge up front and then you move on. Real quick, do you know where America ranks in terms of education internationally? This is
Oh
per the
yeah, we're at the
State
bottom.
Department. We're number 18. So I don't think the Department of Education really has a leg to stand on. But as far as the buyouts are concerned, you're talking about when they're not funded. We managed to find $170 billion for Ukraine. I think we'll be able to come up with the money to satisfy the buyouts.
I have to tell you that honestly speaking, we have such a basic philosophical difference. I have to say that I do not agree with anything that Trump has done. I
Uh,
don't agree with the way he handles this country. I don't agree with the things that are unilaterally cut off. And what I don't hear anybody addressing, and I think is a huge problem, is every single cut that he makes ultimately benefits his cronies. It's
okay,
either going to be big tax breaks. The Consumer Protection Board, which was abolished, which brought in more money than it ever cost, interestingly gets abolished when Elon Musk cuts a deal with
rapid,
Visa for
listen,
fine.
There
I'm
are
just
three
saying.
tax
hold it,
breaks. There
stop,
are three tax
stop.
breaks that
Tyrone,
just a second.
no, I'm not
There
going
are
to wait a
three
second.
tax breaks
I'm
that
not waiting a
benefit the
second.
working class.
This
The
is
tax
not
relief on overtime,
Tyrone.
the tax
Ty-
relief on tips, and the tax relief on Social Security.
Tyrone,
Those are
you're,
working men and women tax relief items.
stop. This is not the Tyrone Mary Show.
Respectfully, Richard, she put
Respectfully,
something out there. I should have an opportunity to correct the record.
Tyrone, you know exactly what I'm saying, and Mary understands. So Minkin, Tom Minkin, and then Bryan. I want to hear from him. Okay, go ahead, Tom.
First of all, how do all those people that have taken the buyout feel, or how would they feel if a couple of months from now or a couple of weeks from now, Trump said, well, I know they took the buyout, but we're not going to pay anymore, and that's that. Because this guy changes his mind like I change my underwear. In fact, that's an insult to my underwear.
You're saying the president changes his underwear once a year?
No, what I'm saying is that you have to take on faith what this guy is saying. And when you consider the things that come out of his mouth, how many of them simply do not materialize as facts? And the answer to that is an overwhelming number. As somebody I think it was Bryan, no, it wasn't, I'm sorry, somebody else, probably Mary, indicated what happened to all his promises so far, beginning with inflation's going to be down, the price
Got to
of
wrap
food,
this comment.
none of them have come true.
Bryan,
Look, the buyout is a way to get people out of the federal government. That's why he's doing it. And it's a nice offer because it's 7 months of basically paid vacation. You can go find another job. 75,000 people thought it was worth their time to do it. So that's a pretty big chunk of the federal government that he is not going to replace. He believes and wants to shrink the size of the federal government. That's what he set out to do, and that's what he's done. And from my point of view, he's done it completely legally at this point.
75,000 people took those buyouts because many of them, not all of them, many of them believe that if they don't take the buyouts, they're going to lose their jobs anyway and be stuck with
It's
nothing.
something people in
So,
corporate America
Maybe.
please
face
let me
every
finish
day.
my statement.
Something people
Please
in
let me.
corporate America face
I'm
every
just
day.
not even going to engage anymore because I haven't finished my statement.
Tyrone,
Mary, you're filibustering. I got to get in where I fit in.
Tyrone, please don't, Mary, take 30 seconds for this comment, please.
I don't have anything else to say. Thanks.
All right.
Let me point something out, Richard. The Democrats on this panel are coming up with a lot of complaints and absolutely no counter solutions. This microcosm is playing out on the national level too. I don't know how you guys ever expect to win another election with that philosophy.
Well, you got Mary to cut out. Mary has left the room. I don't know what to say. There's
You
some
take your toys and go home. That's real productive, isn't it?
Well,
I'm speechless. That's never happened before.
the Democrats
Go ahead, Tom.
have not had an opportunity because they're in the minority to do anything since Trump has been elected, and they have a Congress that is majority Republican in both houses. So that portion of what you're saying, Ty, is really not feasible at this point. I certainly do agree that the Democrats need to put it charitably, a big do-over if they're going to get any success in the future, and I think they will. But right now, this is a very difficult situation for all of us. I know certainly it is for me, because the amount of things that are transpiring are overwhelming, probably by design, by the way. And in that context, it's really too early to be commenting, by virtue of the fact that, you can't separate the wheat from the chaff at this point, and we'll have to see how things come out. I have a concern that, given the promises that Trump makes and then doesn't follow through on, the people that took the buyout are going to wind up saying, where's the rest of our money, when they don't get it?
Well, okay, you're predicting. Bryan, I see you have something to say. I see it in your left eye.
No, DOGE is here for a reason, and that is to cut the federal government, to cut the bureaucracy. It's something that Republicans and conservatives have been doing and asking for decades, and it's actually getting done now. Has he been a little heavy-handed in some ways, or a little overbearing? Could he have done things differently? Could he have been a little bit less mean-spirited federal government workers? Yeah, I agree with that. But the bottom line is, that's what he set off to do. That's what he was elected to do in a lot of ways. And Tyrone's absolutely right. Our debt is out of control. Now, the one thing that I disagree with Trump on more than anything else is he doesn't want to touch Social Security. He doesn't want to touch Medicare. And Mary was talking about Medicaid. I don't even think he wants to touch Medicaid. That's where the big cuts have to come from. But this little stuff and the money that goes out the door and the stuff that we waste money on, why would anyone, Democrat or Republican, why would they be against that? Why would you want to say, what my tax dollars go towards, I want to make sure it goes toward the right thing? And that's just, it boggles my mind that there's a big fight about that aspect.
There's nothing wrong with the principle of what you're saying. It's the implementation of it that's causing all the problem.
All right. Tyrone, you wanted to speak?
Well, I get what you're saying, Tom, but think about, we've had the post-World War II period. We've had close to 80 years of profligate spending and cumulative waste, fraud, and abuse. So this is the point at which, unless we're going to go over the cliff, because we've got other issues out there, the loss of dollar supremacy being one of those things on the horizon, unless we break some eggs and turn this ship around very rapidly, then the United States is going to start to look a lot like the United Kingdom.
Why is it so quiet?
We're ready for another question. You got another topic? Come on, what do you got? What do you got?
You know what I want to touch on? I really do. And we have a few minutes left. This BGE, these price hikes. I'm still trying to get over Mary walking out. In other news, many BGE customers are nervous and stressed as their electric and gas bills continue to rise, many of them out of reach for a lot of the inner city people especially. City Councilman Yitzi Schleifer, who is chairman of the Legislative Initiative Investigations Committee, is holding a series of public hearings to look into BGE's rate increases and their business practices. The first meeting, by the way, is set for February 20th. People are really getting outpriced. A lot of people can't afford this stuff. What do you think about that, Bryan?
It's unbelievable. This house right here, it's a bill between $600 and $800 for the last 2 months. It hurts. Yes.
Oh,
is it all BGE's fault? No. I think a lot of this has to do with Democratic policies in the state of Maryland over the last decade, that we have decided that we're going to go green and we're not going to produce energy anymore, and we're going to import it all from other states. And guess what? Now we're feeling the pain of those policies because it's supply and demand. And obviously it's been very cold. The distribution rates have gone up because the natural gas the prices are higher, but we do not produce energy in this state. And we need to start doing it. And the lawmakers at Annapolis can look at the things that they have done over the last 10 years. And that's one of the main driving factors why you're paying so much for your electricity bill.
The higher bills are apparently a result of BGE's, one of the costs is pipeline replacement projects. Lawmakers are questioning whether BGE's infrastructure projects are actually necessary and whether the company is wrongly passing along costs to customers while shareholders are seeing record profits.
Just real quick on that, if I could say, the Public Service Commission, government agency, approved everything that they asked for.
There you go. We're so
Well,
happy to be back, Bryan.
You know, we're in an environment where, as a society, we're using more power than ever. When you take a look at AI's power demands, crypto mining, okay, and right here in Maryland, we've had 3 or 4 power plants closed down. Why? Because politicians said, hey, 0.04% CO2 in the atmosphere is a dire emergency. And
Right.
so you can't have it both ways. You've got rising power demands, you've got shrinking power availability. It's
Right.
the old, supply and demand. So if this is the way everyone feels about saving the planet, understand it's going to cost. Now, I will say this. The most abundant greenhouse gas in the atmosphere is water vapor. But I guess you can demonize that too at some point, and maybe we'll ban water. Okay. So look for higher water bills next if you
Well,
let the libs in Annapolis have it.
the legislature is trying to take care of this to protect the consumers from the high BGE bills. We're going to hear from Howard, and then we're going to remember a dear friend who passed away this week, and it's very sad. But we'll be back to do that after Howard.
Thank you, Richard. Richard and I are proud to represent the law firm of Barry Glazer. Barry always goes that extra mile for his clients, whether it's been a personal injury, medical malpractice, or nursing home neglect. Barry and his staff, that includes an in-house doctor and nurse, make no apologies for getting top dollar from the insurance companies. His clients are his best advertising. So if you need a lawyer, give Barry Glazer a call at 410-547-8568. Barry Glazer gets results. Baltimore is a great diner town, and the Double T diners are always voted #1 in reader polls. TT stands for totally terrific. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can't beat the enormous menu selections that bring you back again and again. There's Double T locations on Route 40 West, Perry Hall, White Marsh, Bel Air, Laurel, Annapolis, Pasadena, and the EC Diner in Ellicott City. Plus, try By the Docks in Middle River for their Monday night lobster specials, all part of the Double T family. Tell them Richard Sher sent you.
Sure.
Okay? Back to you, Rich.
All right. Sad note in the news, and then a lot of us are going to be very sad. The TV news community, in fact, all of us here in Maryland, are mourning the loss of a longtime WBAL TV 11 education reporter, the amazing Tim Tootin. He passed away this past Saturday. His wife, Charlene, saying Tim died from medical complications. Tim was 66 years old, considered the heart and soul of WBAL TV's newsroom and of his non-denominational Harvest Christian Ministry in Perry Hall. He was just a terrific guy. Did you know him, Bryan? Did you have a chance to know him?
I did. In fact, interviewed him for about 10 minutes when he retired at the end of 2023. Great guy, great reporter. I think so well respected in that building. And what was really wonderful about Tim was he would really make you feel like he listened to you. He cared about what you were reporting about and connected with both the young reporters and the old reporters. I don't know if there's anybody who ever said a bad word about Tim Tootin.
I agree. He's a very good guy. Tyrone, you had some dealings with him.
Yeah, Tim was a minister over at Heber Brown's church in Edgemere for a while before he started his own church. And I had an opportunity to meet him on a couple of occasions many years ago. But everything Bryan said, I totally agree with. Just a very nice guy, totally friendly. It's a loss. It's definitely a loss whenever a gentleman like this is no longer with us.
A lot of fun. It was a lot of fun on the street. I was out on the streets of the city for just 34 short years. Tim and I bumped into each other an awful lot. Always smiling, always a smile on his face. Just a terrific young man, and it's sad that he's not going to be on our screens any longer. Tom, did you want to say anything about Tim?
I've met him one time, and all I can say is to join the sentiments that everybody else is giving now. I mean, he was a bright guy, and he was somebody who made you want to watch him to hear what he was going to say, because he was always right on point and cheerful, and you don't get that in the media universally.
Our condolences go out to his family, of course, his children, and the community that loved him so much. Anyway, this was some square off. Bryan, Tyrone, and Mr. Minkin, and Mary, wherever you've gone. This will be a first. You have to talk about this on your show.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll call
How Bryan Nehman chased the guest away.
Wasn't me. Listen, we have people from all walks of life, all political affiliations are welcome on the show. We like to have good spirited debates, you know.
What's that song, Along Came Mary? Was it Peter, Paul, and Mary? I forgot. All right, guys.
Movie.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's week. Love the person you love, because you never know what's going to happen. And I'm Richard Sher, and I don't know what's going to happen either. But I'll be listening to Bryan and C4 on Monday. All right, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. And once again, thank you, Ty. Thank you, Bride. Thank you, Tom. We square off. Bye-bye, everybody. So long.
Bye-bye.